Armstrong County has great potential. To find out how, stick around because Education Today starts now.
Welcome to Education Today. My name is Bill Kerr, Superintendent of Schools for the Armstrong School District, and it is my pleasure to be a host on this special edition. On Friday, March 16th, an amazing thing is happening in Armstrong County with business, education, and industry leaders coming together for the Armstrong County Forum for Workforce Excellence. The forum will address connections between education and workforce development and preparation for college and career success, among other crucial topics. It will go down as a historic day in Armstrong County history. Armstrong School District is pleased to be a partner in this effort. To talk more about the Workforce Forum, we are delighted to have three special guests today: Patricia Kirkpatrick, Vicki DeThomas, and David English. Welcome to Education Today. If we could just start out and have each of you just give a little background about yourself. Let's start with Vicki.
I'm the Director of Human Resources for OmniTech Partners, which is optical systems technology and Keystone Applied Technologies. And I'm also the President of the Armstrong County Manufacturing Consortium, and I'm an officer of the Workforce Investment Board.
Great. We're pleased to have you, Vicki.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kirkpatrick, you're the chairperson of the Board of Commissioners for Armstrong County. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. And I am serving my first term, fourth year, and very pleased to be able to represent the citizens of this great county.
Thank you also for being here. David English.
Dr. Kerr, I'm David English. I'm the Executive Director of the Armstrong Educational Trust, which is the Community Education Council for Armstrong County and the surrounding area. And we're serving as the administrative arm for the forum, making all the contacts and connections and the arrangements.
We appreciate you being
Thank
here
you.
also, David. Thank you. Commissioner Kirkpatrick, you're chairing the event, and I know you're very excited about this. Could you please give us an overview of the day's activities and who might be invited, some of the sponsors, and so forth?
Yes, well, we have a full day. It will be held at Lenape Technical School on March the 16th. We're planning from 8 to 3 o'clock, and hopefully we won't keep everybody over too long, but I think everybody will be excited. In the morning, we'll have a general welcome, and then also introducing what will happen that day. We have some very great speakers. First of all, the first one is Louis Testoni. He's an office and managing partner of PricewaterhouseCoopers, and looking at from the private side and what's been happening in southwestern Pennsylvania through the Allegheny Conference. I know he's been working with the schools and the superintendents, so I think we'll have a great message in the morning. We will have breakout sessions there where we take everyone and put them in classrooms and actually have some different types of discussion. We will have a great speaker at lunchtime, David Malone, the CEO of Gateway Financial, and he is also the chair of the state, Pennsylvania's State Workforce Investment Board. That's significant that we would get two significant people from the private side to share their part of their day with us and bring the message from a different perspective than maybe we have locally also. And in the afternoon, we'll have the report out of those breakout sessions, and then we will also then have a report out of all the entities involved in this type of event, because we know we have a lot of great initiatives underway. We maybe aren't all communicating those to each other. We do have sponsors. First of all, it is coming under the umbrella of the Tri-County Workforce Investment Board, and we're pleased that they can help us bring this initiative to the table. The Armstrong County Board of Commissioners are also supporting this. The Armstrong Educational Trust, we could not do it without having the trust actually coordinating, helping to facilitating, putting all the arrangements together. Lenape Technical School, in cooperation with the 4 sending high schools, Apollo Ridge, Armstrong, Leechburg, and Freeport. And that's critical because of those that are going to be invited. We're really excited about that the students, the faculty, the guidance counselors, and the administration, and the school boards will be invited to this event where we bring together those from industry and business, government, And we also have labor involved too, because they also are looking at what is that workforce that needed to be involved in this type of event. And we're very, very fortunate because we have industry clusters coordinated in this county. And our manufacturing cluster and our healthcare cluster and the emergence of an IT cluster, and they're all invited. I think we have, how many, David, that we have so far?
Approximately 40 have responded already, but we actually sent invitations to nearly 350 potential participants.
So the day is going to be, as you said, it's a historic event, it's exciting, and we're really looking forward to as the beginning, because it's about our workforce system and what are the pieces and the initiatives that we need to have in place.
It's certainly an opportunity for all the stakeholders to come together representing education, business, industry, government. It's like a major league lineup.
It is.
It's going to be a winner.
It is.
David, could you tell us a little bit about the concept and how this initiative came about?
It's actually been a long time coming. The concept of a workforce development initiative within the county has been discussed for perhaps a dozen years. Started some efforts through the Chambers of Commerce. The Trust actually had this conversation as many as 7 or 8 years ago and started to put together some of the groups at that point. The original School to Work initiative kicked off some of this discussion. And we were fortunate that as we moved along into this time period, the Tri-County Workforce Investment Board actually had a workforce summit on its strategic plan as an initiative that they wanted to explore. And that's how we took that piece and started to put together a planning committee and began to put the pieces together for it.
Thank you. Commissioner, could you tell us, just you touched on this, but what is so unique about the Workforce Development Initiative?
Well, we know that there are a lot of aspects that are already occurring within our school systems, and that, you know, we want to capitalize on those, and if we can also to expand them, because this opportunity will actually be bringing the industry, those that are in business, to the table to communicate directly with these people that probably have the biggest impact with our student population and helping to prepare that workforce of the future, and leading them into looking at what are these careers and what are the skills needed within these careers. So for Armstrong County, we think that this is actually helping us to communicate, but also helping us to map out what are these assets we already have that are occurring, and that we can capitalize and maybe bring more resources. And it's beginning in Armstrong, but it will be across the Tri-County. We have 2 other counties, Indiana and Butler County, involved in this. So the picture is much larger than just our county.
We'll come back to that point on the Tri-County Workforce Development Board. Then we'll move to Vicki for just a moment. What are the expected outcomes from your perspective?
Well, you know, this is going to be unique, bringing all these different entities together for the very first time. And, you know, from business, you know, we've been complaining for a long time that no one's listening to us of, you know, what type of workforce we need. And so all of a sudden we have education at the table really listening to us. And so from here on, it's time for change. And I think that's going to be the next step, is how can we make changes, you know, to really, you know, give the workforce, you know, that extra oomph that they need so business can, you know, profit, and we can, you know, see economic development, you know, just take off in our area.
Sure. Okay, thank you. David, to build upon your previous comments, could you tell us, you know, how can the forum be the beginning point for more to come?
Well, the Planning Committee bill actually suggested using the phrase Workforce Forum instead of Workforce Summit as a means to make sure that we communicate the idea that we see this as an ongoing long-term effort, not something that would be a one-day event. We're hoping that the kickoff event will be the kind of session that will bring about a number of recommendations or suggestions for next steps that we can actually put into action and begin that process of creating the dialogue and building a strategy for long-term workforce development in the county.
Great. When you mentioned, Patty, concerning the Workforce Investment Board, Armstrong County was selected as a pilot project, knowing that Armstrong, Indiana, and Butler County participate in that particular board. Why was Armstrong selected?
Well, the original discussion was about should we take this across 3 counties. and that through our research, we thought that that was just too large. We probably wouldn't have the same conversations of what Butler would be having in Indiana as what is unique to Armstrong County because of our business environment, understanding our school districts and working more closely with them. So when we presented it to, and this came from the planning committee of the Tri-County WIB, that we thought let's pilot it in Armstrong, and then the next step is then to duplicate it in Indiana County and Butler County. And what happened out of that, then the WIB tasked a planning committee, a subcommittee to do that, and that's where I became the chair. And then I'd like to recognize the people that have been involved. And Dr. Kerr, you've been there from the beginning, and we are so appreciative because from the school perspective, we, within the WIB, this could not be accomplished to have these conversations with those of the students, the educators, the administration, and the school boards without your support, and how you've helped to carry that message to Lenape Votech and to the other districts. So we personally want to thank you for that. We also have on the committee, Vicki is on the committee because of the private side, the consortium. David with coordinating it. We have Dawn Coker-Taylor, who is the administrator of Lenape Votech. Jeff Fullerton, he's a private industry here representing DRS Technologies. Mark Schaefer, who's from the southern part of the county, represent executive benefit plans. We have a member from Indiana County, Jerry Richardson, from the planning department, because we want to duplicate. We have to be able to take this back to another county. We have Dave Fringle from Penn United, Butler County, major corporation there. And so that also will help us to duplicate it in Butler. And then we also have the executive director, Fred Fornatero, of the Tri-County WIB. So it's been a cooperative effort across 3 counties, but we have been focusing on Armstrong.
I think it's so exciting. If I could just build on your comments, as an educator, we are very pleased to be a partner in the Workforce Forum. I just recently returned from a trip in Hershey, and I attended, along with Dawn Coker-Taylor and the administrative staff from Lenape, a college and career success symposium. And exactly what we are doing here in Armstrong County, connecting education to workforce development, economic development, is exactly where the state of Pennsylvania wants us to be. As you know, Governor Rendell and Secretary Zahorchek of the Public Education Department has been promoting and advocating Pennsylvania Pathways, and that's exactly what this program was about. And over the last several days, we're connecting education and careers in Pennsylvania schools. And I'll make sure that I share this information with you, but as you go through the brochure and the programs that are outlined, you'll notice that there's a priority of preparing workers for Pennsylvania high priority occupations, and obviously the connections with workforce development and education. We in Armstrong County are right on the mark, and it's so exciting because we know that if we're going to prepare young people for the future and meet the demands of industry and business in terms of highly skilled workers, then we need to do more in education and promoting and exposing children to the types of careers that are out there. And it isn't a surprise to us in education, but there's an awful lot of emphasis in connecting basic ed to higher ed, and in terms of students earning college credits either through dual enrollment, advancing our curriculum in the sense of more rigor, more relevance, getting the right students matched with the areas of interest and the occupations that are out there. This forum in Armstrong County really sets an example for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So we should all be very pleased that we're on the cutting edge, and if everything works out okay for the March 16th event, I think we'll exceed our 250 mark of expectation in terms of attendance. So let me just say that we're going to take a short break. When we get back, we're going to talk more about the Armstrong County Forum for Workforce Excellence. This is Armstrong School District's Education Today.
More than 100 academic majors, more than 230 clubs and organizations. Great things happen here every day. There are students just like you right here. There are also people who aren't anything like you from many walks of life and from all around the world. At IUP, it's all about having choices. Indiana University of Pennsylvania, the perfect fit.
Welcome back to Armstrong School District's Education Today. I'm Bill Kerr, Superintendent of Schools for the Armstrong School District. Our topic today is the Armstrong County Forum for Workforce Excellence on Friday, March 16th. Let me turn to Dave. We've had an excellent discussion so far. Really interested in the post-secondary providers, their role, and what you might do to make sure or ensure the sustainability of the providers coming back with a high level of interest.
Well, two things are going on there, Bill. One is the Armstrong Educational Trust has a partner group of post-secondary providers that we work with on a routine basis. One of the things we've asked them to do is to provide facilitators for our breakout sessions during the day. They have skilled facilitators, instructors, and staff members who have backgrounds in that area, and they'll help us stay on task and develop some results. Second area is that we're asking them to come back with some thoughts about ways in which the post-secondary world can help both the education and employer sides of the equation make workforce development strides down the road. So they'll stay engaged over the long haul in this process.
Great. I know that you have planned 8 breakout sessions for March 16th. Could you expand on that and also just talk about the survey that will be a part of that process?
Right. What we did was we prepared surveys for both the employers and for the educators to gain a better understanding of the pressing workforce development issues and awareness of some of the issues relating to workforce development. We had a decent response from both sides throughout the county. In fact, some of the responses are still coming in. But one of the things that we found on the employer side is that the vast majority, 84%, have actually hired in the past year. But of that number, 76% of them have reported difficulty in finding qualified applicants. That was a bit of a red flag. And as we delved a little further, we found that 55% of those responded to that difficulty in finding qualified applicants by actually increasing their recruitment efforts, which led to a lot more time spent in the process finding new hires or employees. 44% of those actually hired a less qualified applicant, and 39% in response increased employee overtime hours. So we knew that there were some disconnects there. 53% of those folks reported overall lowered productivity as a result of having this difficulty in finding qualified applicants. So we know that there are some issues that the employers are wrestling with. We further asked them about the skills that are most important in the hiring process. 42% of them reported that positive work habits or attitudes are a top priority for them. And then when we asked them where they were finding difficulty in making those connections, most of them reported much difficulty in finding employees with occupational specific skills. It was actually 50% of the respondents. But then when we asked in terms of some difficulty, 53% said that communication and computer skills were an area they were finding difficulty. And 50% reported teamwork, math skills, reading skills, and ability to accept supervision as areas in which they were finding difficulty in recruiting qualified applicants. So we got a good sense of the background of the employers, what they were wrestling with and what they were dealing with. On the educator side, we asked them about the programs that they're already involved in and got a sense of some of the awareness issues. 53% of those who responded used job shadowing, and another 43% used cooperative education as an opportunity for students. But 63% of those initiatives begin in 11th grade, so that we know that it's a little later in the process. 67% of the respondents used some form of career software, and 56% of those integrated into both the guidance process and into the classroom. But 69% do not conduct any kind of career inventory for the students. And we further asked the educators for some suggestions on programs and communication processes that we could use to connect with employers, and we've gained some good feedback. Those results were used to identify the topics for the 8 breakout sessions. And what we hope to use those breakout sessions to do is to actually identify some recommendations in each of those areas for next steps that can build that strategy.
I think the process that you just described is outstanding, and it certainly will go a long way in further giving opportunities for the communication and connections between education and the real world of business and industry. So good luck with that process. I'm going to move on to Vicki. If you'd tell us a little more about the manufacturing consortium and how you feel those groups that will be participating will benefit, and any other way that you might want to expand in terms of the time and energy that you've put into it to make sure that this connection comes together.
Well, I think, just listening to what David just, outlined from the survey, really, speaks to the problems, that manufacturers are having. And then you go into, the healthcare consortium. They're having the same problems that, the manufacturing consortiums are having. I sat and talked with the IT consortium, and they are having problems even getting interns to come in and work in their companies. So, I mean, we're seeing everywhere we look that there's a misconnect between education and, and the businesses. And so I think that, business is ready for this. We've been ready for a long time. And, they're willing to open up their doors, for shadowing, internship programs, anything it takes so that we can get a good workforce. The stats that David were talking about is actually, national stats. I looked them up. It's 80% of companies, manufacturing companies, are saying that they cannot find, the workforce that they need. And 60% are saying that half of everybody that they look at are not qualified. So, I mean, we're just seeing here the same thing that's happening across the U.S. So we're excited.
Well, and that's a major benefit. If I'd have to ask you the question, well, why should employers attend this forum?
This is your chance to have a voice. You've been wanting to be heard. And it's, education's going to be at the table, and they're going to be listening. And thanks to you, for bringing everybody together. This is going to be the first time that we have education, we have business, we have, economic development. We have government there to support us to move forward in any way we can. So, this is a special time.
It's kind of picking ourselves up by the bootstraps to do our part, at least for our county and region. Vicki, you've been real active with the manufacturing consortium. Mm-hmm. Could you tell us some of the other activities that you've been involved in? I think the public would like to hear more about that.
We have two projects right now that we're really working on. One is a video that's going to highlight the manufacturing companies in the area so that we can get students and also parents to see what's going on, because we've got some neat things going on in our county here. And the second part of that's going to be the education that goes along with those skill sets. And so we're hoping to have that done in June. Thanks to the Workforce Investment Board, they got us some grant money, and so we're going full force on that. The second thing that we did is we were talking about the gap in skills and entry-level skills. The other thing that we have done is we went to Florida and we purchased a program called Work Certified. It's a 90-hour program, and we're going to be running this through the Career Link. This is our stopgap until education gets caught up. And maybe David just wants to put a couple of words in about the pilot program that we're going to be running.
Yeah, just to back up quickly, we actually had a program in Armstrong County called InStep that was offered a number of years ago, and it was a very successful program. One of the reasons why this program, Work Certified, appealed to us is that it's a program that includes 50 competencies, and the participants are actually certified as having mastered those 50 competencies. So it appealed to us as a program that gave some validation to those areas. And it was developed by a cross-section of industry: manufacturing, healthcare, retail, service. It cuts across all boundaries. We are actually going to offer a pilot to begin with some of the displaced workers in April, and then we're going to offer a second pilot group in May for both displaced workers and some current employees who are relatively new to the work arena.
That's great. I know that you had shared with me the Work Certified brochure, and it's very comprehensive and a most needed approach, I believe, to help to ensure highly skilled workers for the future. I'd like to go back to Commissioner Kirkpatrick at this point. Patty, you have been a leader in economic development along with the Board of County Commissioners. Could you tell us how economic development connects to this whole initiative of workforce development?
Well, knowing that we are a small six-class county with approximately 72,000 residents, and historically our jobs have been based upon around natural resources, and yet those jobs have been disappearing. And as we know that emerging technologies have to be embraced, and we do have a lot of companies that we have attracted to this county, and companies that we have locally that in retaining jobs, they've had to change in how they do business. So from an economic development perspective, the industrial parks that we've had major taxpayer investments, those are critical, that we do attract companies, and the companies that we have, we give them the opportunity to expand. County government doesn't create jobs, it's the private sector that creates them. We help to create the opportunities. And that so when we look at economic wealth, how it is created, it is through those jobs. And if these companies that we have currently that want to expand, that want to look at retraining their workforce, or those that we want to attract to this county, if we're not helping in the preparation of the workforce, then basically they can't create the economic wealth that we are desperately needing. And this is not just happening in Armstrong County, but in southwestern Pennsylvania and all across Pennsylvania, that this system is going to be so critical to this void and this gap that is being created by the limited amount of people we have readily available for these jobs of the future. And as you know, technology is changing on a daily basis. Working with the schools and those teachers and those students and parents and everybody in the system, I think is just going to be a wonderful opportunity on our part.
Well, I thank each of you for being here today on Education Today. We're going to wrap up this session, but I would extend an invitation for a follow-up taping or viewing as to what actually happened on March 16th and what the next steps may be. Well, that's our show for today. I'd like to thank our guests, Patty Kirkpatrick of the Armstrong County Commissioners, Vicki DeThomas of the Armstrong County Manufacturing Consortium, and David English of the Armstrong County Educational Trust. Also, I'd like to thank the TV production students of Mr. Ed Bauer of Katanning High School. They were our film crew today, and they've done an outstanding job. Please join us again next week for another look at the Armstrong School District. Visit our website for updated information about the district. Have a great week.
A couple of things. Not proposing one person can stay about all this. Okay, so other than that, you guys just talking between one another and keep your feet planted so that you don't swivel too much in the chairs. And other than that, just have a good conversation about what you want to talk about. And if at any point where you didn't say anything the way you wanted to say, then you want to stop and stop and stuff and you ask that question again. Sean, can I get some water? Yeah.
Now she's filming it.
In my opening comments,
I'm the only guy.
He enjoys it. His dog's gonna die. What's Dawn? Dawn's upstairs to me, like.
we have to change.
You're like, oh, this looks like a good place to stand. I'm sorry. I was just moving away from the wire. I was like moving the wires with my nose.
States.